We can always go and upload individual files and download individual files to Code Interpreter, and we can certainly get by that way. But one of the wonderful things about Code Interpreter and the way that it works is that it can actually take zip files, unzip them, work on multiple files at once, and automate entire processes for us, and then zip up the results and give us back multiple results at once, which is way more convenient. It also allows us to do interesting things, like when you have a zip file, it can actually have a folder hierarchy inside of it. Or we can give additional things or tools or other possibilities, bits of Python code, anything we want to do to Code Interpreter. But I'm going to give you a simple example of why an archive is so helpful. Let's imagine that you have a series of images and you want to go and apply a transformation to them. You want to make them much more stylized, apply some filter to them. You've taken all these images, okay, now you want to stylize them. So I'm going to upload an archive full of images to Code Interpreter, but this could be an archive of any of your files. It could be an archive full of Excel files that you want to combine. It might be an archive full of Excel files and you want a specific visualization built for every single individual Excel file. Or maybe you want to search across those Excel files and filter them for a subset of rows and then create new Excel files. Whatever automation you want to do. So whenever you start thinking about, I have multiple files and I need to automate some process across them, you want to start thinking about uploading a zip file to Code Interpreter. Zip everything up that you're going to perform the operation on, describe the operation, and tell it to perform it on the files that are within the zip file. Simple automation, super effective. So I'm going to upload this archive full of images and I'm going to say, please make these images much more stylized by dramatically increasing the contrast and saturation. So simple pattern. Whenever you need to automate something on a set of files, zip them up into an archive and upload the zip. It's basically the archive interaction pattern. So now what it's going to do is it's going to say, first thing, let's unzip and the archive to access the images. It then pulls out each of the individual JPEGs, which were JPEGs that I'd pulled out of a movie. It then goes through and provides each of them. Now I could stop and I could download them one by one at this point, but that seems like a lot of work for me, particularly if I've got 100 files or 200 files. So instead what I'm going to do is I'm just going to say zip up the files so that I can download them. So we can use zip to automate the processing of multiple files so that we don't have to upload 100 different files. We can just zip them up and put them up there, but also to save us the time of how are we going to get all these files back down, we can zip them up in order to download them. So now I can just go and click on download the enhanced images, and I now have all the images. The other thing that's really useful, and I mentioned this, is that a zip file can have a folder structure to it. If you just upload individual files, you can't create meaning or organization with the folders. Now you can do this both on the things you upload. For example, you could upload an archive that had different folders and you could say, take all of the files in this folder and all of the files in this folder and do something with them. And so because you have folders, it then allows you to refer to them, to talk about certain file sets and already have them organized. So zip files, they don't just give you the ability to upload multiple things at once, but they also give you the ability to organize what the input you're giving it. You can organize the files into different directory structures, different categories, these types of things. And so it's a useful tool for organizing the input that you're giving it and then being able to refer and talk about different sets of files or groupings or to help it figure out what it needs. So for example, if you're trying to do a process and you have all the files, related to cats in a folder, and then you go and ask a question related to cats, it's going to be much more likely that it's going to be able to figure out which files are relevant and automatically go and find them. So one way that having a zip file can help is it provides an index for Code Interpreter to go and find the right things. So in this example, this is one I showed before. I'm going to upload a zip file. I'm going to ask it to read each file and summarize what's in it, propose a folder structure for those files, propose better names for each file. This is another kind of really important aspect of this. It can rename files as well. And then when you have it all done, zip it up or show it to me in this case. So it goes through, it reads all the files, and this is just a fantastic tool for file organization. You have a ton of files, zip them up, throw it in there. If you haven't kept the organization up to date with what's in those files and you'd like to figure out a better way to do it, Well, here's the AI-driven file organization. It's kind of an amazing little utility. It summarizes all the files. It proposes a file organization or hierarchy for all of them. And then I go and I have to work with it a little bit because it couldn't quite figure out what some of the files are, but I tell it to go and try a different method. And this is a useful thing you'll want to know is like, if it doesn't quite work out, just tell it, try another way. Try to do it again, but come up with an alternate method. So this is a pattern of interaction. If it won't do it, say, try an alternate method. Don't give up. Try an alternate method, and often it will find another way to do it. It goes through and it proposes a new folder structure. We have course descriptions, receipts, reports, and policies. And it turns out that that's actually an excellent organization of these files. And then I just tell it, looks great, create a zip file so I can download it. Now the key thing of this zip file is it maintains the folder structure. So now the folders are organized inside, or the files are organized inside of those folders, so when I get it back, I'm not having to figure out how to do it. Now notice one thing it didn't do for me. I forgot to get it to make sure that it went through and renamed the files. It didn't actually do that. And I think that's probably my fault for not confirming and saying, hey, the structure looks good, now rename everything. That was my fault there. I just said, go ahead and zip it up. And it did that, and now here's the zip file. So this is a fantastic thing to know about. Anytime you need to automate work on multiple files, anytime you need to automate the creation of directory structures and hierarchy, anytime it would be helpful to you for Code Interpreter to have a directory structure that organizes the files so it can more efficiently either find things or so that you can more efficiently tell it where things are or talk about the sets of files. Zip files are a fantastic way to do that. So whenever you need automation or whenever you need to output multiple things or whenever you need structure in the thing that you're getting back in terms of the file organization and hierarchy or the file organization and hierarchy on the input, fantastic way to do it is with zip files.